Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're all doing well, as I always say. Hope you are having or had a good week, depending on when you're watching this. And this week I have a weird story for you. It is from Arizona, so pull up a stump, and it's probably going to get hot because it's in Arizona, so make sure that you are well hydrated, and yeah, let's jump into it. Thank you for watching. I like to consider myself to be a hopeful skeptic. I would love to believe in the paranormal, but I have not seen enough convincing evidence to believe in everything about it wholesale. That being said, I have had one experience in my life that, while possibly being able to be explained rationally, it's full of bizarre and unsettling things that I do not have explanations for. I grew up in Arizona, and during my junior year of high school, I heard a rumor from my older brother's friend about this really strange and creepy place that him and some guy stumbled upon. What I got out of him was that it was called Dead Man's Maze, or simply just the Maze. It was a large fenced-in property that held within it a large maze filled to the brim with weird stuff and a small house at the center. Apparently, people have seen ghosts or a lot of other paranormal stuff there. The backstory they gave me was that this old guy who lived in the house started constructing a maze for his granddaughter, but she unexpectedly died, and out of grief, he just continued to add to the maze for her. And apparently, she's even buried on the property. They also mentioned that he may have been in some kind of cult, and that the maze may have also had some significance to that, but naturally, I thought that my older brother and his friend were just screwing with me, and to this day I still think that some of the details they gave me were added in by kids to do just that. But they were reluctant to give me more details, and really tried to scare me out of finding it. At the time, I thought it was just a tactic to keep it secret, and kept pushing for the exact spot, and eventually they relented, but told me that I shouldn't go because from what they knew, the guy who lived on the property was absolutely nuts and would probably attack me or shoot at me or something if he caught me. So of course I tell my group of friends as soon as I get the chance. There were 7 of us in the group, including me. I'm not going to post their names obviously, but I'll give them color names: red, blue, green, orange, brown, and purple. Red was my buddy that I knew all the way back from elementary school, and he became kind of a jock, but we still stayed really good friends, and we still are. Blue, green, and orange were Red's jock friends, but they're still more friends of a friends, but I still like them. They're still pretty cool. Brown and purple were my 2 closest friends, and they still are. All in all, we're a weird mix of jocks, skaters, and nerds, but we all had a lot of fun doing dumb stuff, so naturally this maze business was right up our alley. And after I told them about it, we absolutely decided that we have to go. So late one Saturday night, we met up and we get in Red's truck to find, quote, the maze. We drive around the part of Phoenix that my brother and his friend told me it was in, and we're looking for a church across the street from a school near a small mountain called Lookout Mountain. Eventually we find the neighborhood, but as per my bro and his friend's directions, we need to go park the truck near a small green belt and walk out of the neighborhood on a small dirt road that leads to the base of the mountain. Once we found the green belt, we see where the street just randomly ends to the west, and there's a small dirt road that starts there. It was seriously strange, like it's this fully developed neighborhood and it just abruptly ends and becomes desert. As we start walking up the dirt trail and continue on, we slowly start to see the outline of a small fence and realize that we are getting close, so we try to go stealth mode as we approach the property. When we get to an opening in the fence, the very first thing that I see is a replica of a sphinx. It was probably about 12 to 15 feet tall, and the eyes were painted in this really unsettling way, so I'm already really creeped out, and we haven't even stepped on the property yet. I quietly pointed out to the others, and we're all kind of nervously giggling and whispering stupid jokes about the power of Ra and stuff, but we all slowly creeped through the fence opening into the maze proper. Good lord, was this place ever bizarre. Shortly past the Sphinx was this damn replica of Stonehenge, albeit with smaller rocks, but still large enough to walk through. We are all slowly walking around, just soaking in the oddities, but so far there's nothing really scary that happened. But man, did that change real quick. As we moved past the mini Stonehenge, I noticed bird cages hanging on a few poles, sort of randomly placed around the sides of the trail. At first they looked empty, but as we got closer to one, I realized that this was not the case. We found a decomposed, nearly skeletal bird corpse in the first one, and other small bones in the others. This immediately killed the sort of creepy funhouse vibe that we had up until this point. Purple whispers that whoever leaves dead birds out like this clearly has issues, and maybe we should just turn around, but the Jock trio peer pressured him and the rest of us into continuing forward. Eventually we came to this bend in the trail, and got a good view of the property. Calling this place a maze wasn't entirely accurate. It was more of a trail that slowly spiraled to the center, where a small old house was. As we kept going on the trail, we came up to a series of small shacks, some of which had windows, and in one of those windows I see a pale white face staring back at me, and I just about crapped my pants before I realized that it actually appears to be a doll's face, so the crapping my pants kinda gets downgraded to a light peeing of the pants. Again, I point this out to the group and we all nervously laugh and try to get a closer look and confirm that it wasn't going to steal our soul or whatever. We are starting to get close to the house at this point, and we notice that on the other side it looks like there's a floodlight. And at this point we should have just got out of there, but being a group of teenage boys, we were all too dumb to realize that, so we start to slow creep around the side. And this was the moment where things went from creepy and unsettling to absolutely life or death terrifying. The floodlight was aimed down near a shovel, and next to the shovel was a freshly dug hole that was the perfect size for a body. In other words, it looked like whoever was there digging was digging a grave. We all sort of froze when I noticed movement back behind the corner of the house. I nudge Red and nod in the direction. That's standing behind the floodlight outside of its glow, so we can't make out any of its features. We all kind of freeze as it kind of feels like a standoff, but before we could process our situation, the floodlight shuts off, and out of instinct we all scatter. This is when I immediately regret bringing the jocks, as red, blue, green, and orange take off full speed and are out of sight immediately. Brown, purple, and I book it back out the trail to try and get to the road towards Red's truck. When we passed the shack again, that face in the window was gone and the door was open. The three of us are now shouting, "Oh God, what the hell?" And we can hear shuffling from behind us, so we all just bank into the dirt and bushes to just run straight to the fence and jump it to get back to the dirt road. As we get back to the street, this van screeches up out of nowhere and stops between us and the truck. And I swear that a group of people in white robes start jumping out from the back of the van and start silently running towards us. Their outfits almost reminded me of something like the KKK, but without the pointy hoods, and there was at least 5 or 6 of them. At this point, I'm beginning to realize that I just might die tonight, and apparently so did Brown and Purple because they took off, just leaving me there stranded. I bolt as fast as I can into the neighborhood across the road and start running down the sidewalk. I was not athletic in the slightest, so even with the fear and adrenaline, my endurance was starting to fail me, and I was slowing down. That's when I hear a tire screech behind me toward the entrance of this neighborhood. I look around for a place to hide, as There's no way that I'm outrunning that van, and eventually I decide to dive behind a bush in the front yard. I curl up into a ball and try to lay totally still, as I can make out headlights slowly coming up near the yard I'm in, and my breathing stops and I can't tell if they see me or not. The van stops for a second and I start tearing up as I think this is it, I'm dead. But the van slowly drives past and turns at the end of the street. Once the headlights are gone, I start gasping for air, trying to calm myself and get up to start kind of slowly power walking out the sidewalk to get out of the neighborhood. I make it close to the exit back out to the main street when I hear the tires squeal again, and behind me I see the van turn back onto one of the streets toward me. I run as fast as I possibly can towards the green belt, but as I approach I see that Red's truck is gone. I just sort of stop and freeze as the reality of the situation washes over me. The van is moments from seeing me in the middle of the street, and there's no way I can hide in time. I really just might die now, and I think as my mind races to find some way out of this, and then I see the beams of the headlights behind me. I turn around and I see Red's truck barreling down, and he slams the brakes on to the side of me. Before I have time to react, Blue and Green hop out of the truck bed and grab me and toss me like a rag doll in the back before jumping back on. I come back to my senses as I see the van peel around the corner and start chasing us, as Red is flooring it out of there. The van chases us through the neighborhoods, but once we get to the main road, it's just gone. Red slows down a bit, and we eventually end up at a Walmart parking lot, and he stops and just shuts the truck off. We all get out and start laughing nervously and trying to make jokes of the situation. It was obvious that we were all terrified and were just trying to play it off like we weren't, but I think the laughing came from the relief that we all got out of there safely. To this day, I don't really know what it was that we stumbled upon, or who was in the van chasing us. Over the years, we all still stayed in touch, and whenever the maze came up, we all just reminisced about how crazy it was. But recently, when I was back in the Phoenix area, I decided to drive by during the day, but now that property is just a large empty dirt lot. So, I don't know what happened that night, but after that and between the time that I went back, I steered clear of the entire area. So, what did you think about that story? It was pretty wild, wasn't it? As always, I leave it up to you to decide if you think that it was real or fake, or if parts of it were real but it's been exaggerated since it's been so long and stuff. Really up to you. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the story, and I hope you enjoy my rambling on and on and on every week. Yeah, if you like the video, like and subscribe. I have a PayPal you can donate to, and there's like some other stuff I'm working on. So, I hope you have a good week. Hope you had a good week, depending on when you're watching this. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching, and thank you for pulling up a stump.